afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is going to be a reading for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the new moon entering into Libra on October the 6th. Now, this new moon is going to really highlight relationships, love, friends, connections, solving conflicts, and the future. This new moon really wants you to focus on setting your sights on your future goals and to create a foundation for that future now in the present. However, there is Mercury also in retrograde, which is going to sort of pull you to the past. And so you might be finding some confusion, some need for closure, maybe some old wounds coming up that need healing. There might also just be this energy of bringing alignment in between your internal and external self because of the sun and moon both being in Libra together. So let's get started and see what messages we have for Virgo. What are the major themes? We'll start there. What are the major themes for Virgo as they move through their week with this energy coming from the new moon in Libra? Oh, that card felt like it wanted to fly out. Anything else here? No? Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling like it's just those two cards for you, For you, Virgo. I was going to call you Libra. Okay, let's see here. Conclusions are within reach, and nothing will come of this situation. Interesting. Interesting themes for you. So this nothing will come of this situation. The energy of this card really says to me that whatever is happening in the present moment is not serving you. Something is not serving you right now, okay, Virgo? And that there is a conclusion within reach. So that tells me that you may be going through a difficult period right now, Virgo. One in which won't produce anything because it's meant as a time for you to I'm feeling like heal from something. So this conclusions are within reach says to me that process is nearly there. So I feel like Virgo's been going through a difficult period and that nothing will come of that except healing. Nothing will move nothing will progress or move forward in a space that is of this energy. So that tells me that wherever you are right now, Virgo, in terms of your timeline, it's not at a place where I would make any sort of decisions or, create a lot of change because the conclusions are coming. So I would sort of let this take its course, if you will, and then we'll see what energies come out of that. Perhaps you are processing a lot of change right now, Virgo, and it's not really time to take action. It's time, I think, for stillness. It feels sort of like a stillness in both of those cards is necessary. And that it wouldn't be sort of advisable to try to make any moves right now because it's just not, you're not sitting in an energy of creation right now. I feel like you're sitting in an energy of conclusions. Okay, so what would support I keep calling you all these different signs. What would support Virgo right now? Connection. Interesting. Break isolation. Seek what brings you vitality. We are all interdependent. Reach out for support. You are not alone. Yeah, I'm really feeling like Virgo's going through a tough time right now where it is very sort of dark and alone, like when you feel the energy of that card and even the conclusions coming within reach. That seems to me to be a period where Virgo is sort of in isolation and it might need to be broken because nothing will come, Virgo, nothing will come of it in that form. Seek what brings you vitality and reach out for support. You are not alone. We are all interdependent. So I'm really feeling like Virgo is in a place where I almost want to say grieving. I feel like Virgo could be grieving. And that it's almost time to break that solitary grief when we're alone with ourselves grieving. Nothing will come from that, and you are not alone. You don't have to be alone through this. And that message of seeking what brings you vitality sort of makes me feel like you have stopped, like you are still. You are still. You're in a phase of stillness right now, Virgo, where I feel like you're reflecting on a loss. I feel like you've lost someone, and you're managing your grief right now. But that this new moon making you think about relationships, and it's making you think about the future. And so there's this tug of war right now between the future and the past, the internal and the external. And I think Virgo is needing to sort of reach out, maybe, because the conclusion is within reach on this situation, that I feel like keeping yourself in isolation, that needs to come to a conclusion. Now, let's get the rest of the story here with our tarot cards. Okay. Okay, Three of Swords in reverse on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so what I see here for you, Virgo, is this idea that what's driving your reading right now is that there's a lack of balance within your internal and external self. Like we were just talking, there's a lack of balance here, and a choice to balance needs to be made. And I feel like it could involve a partnership. So there could be, I feel like there's almost a brand new situation on the horizon here for you. I feel like this conclusions are within reach is also referring to the end of a cycle that you're in. And it feels like it's sort of going to hinge on a choice. And you're going to have to make that choice, Virgo. It feels like this all started in the recent past. Something sort of threw your world upside down. A chapter ended, and it ended on a note that didn't leave you feeling like you could get closure. Okay, there was a lack of closure here. Something, again, I really feel like someone was taken suddenly here for you, Virgo, and you almost didn't get the closure that you needed. And as a result, you're having a very significant challenge in the present to sort of keep going and to create change. You're having a hard time lifting yourself out of this mood, this isolation that you're being encouraged to break. You're having a hard time right now. Nothing will come of this situation, again, is really showing up here when I see the King of Rods in reverse, because the King of Rods can get things moving. The King of Rods is an energy that represents being able to create movement and to really connect the vision that you hold to the external world and create it in the future, and to generate change, really, really fiery change that helps us develop again and again. And right now, that is not happening, because I feel like you're in a state of stillness, and that you're almost in a place where you're starting to deny things to yourself regarding spirituality. It's like you're sort of starting to deny that aspect of life. And I think that's the major obstacle for you right now, is because I feel like you've lost someone, and it was sudden, and it's really making you start to think about mortality in a different way. And you're having a hard time seeking what brings you vitality right now, because you're sort of in a place where you're very disillusioned. You're disillusioned, and you can't seem to find harmony here. Things are really out of balance right now, Virgo. And I feel like what's going to break this conclusion that's within reach, I almost feel like it's going to be some introduction of new emotion. Something is going to come in to spark your emotions. And, you know, it almost feels like it could be a brand new alignment with someone, a brand new relationship, a connection that's formed with someone to help you bring balance in again. What's top of mind for you is this idea of how are you going to reveal yourself? Will you allow yourself to be vulnerable and feel love? Which is why I sort of feel like there's this idea here that there could be a reconciliation or a new relationship, a new emotional connection could be formed, because I see the Lovers as top of mind for you. And it sort of makes me think that there's a choice that needs to be made with respect to how much of yourself you're willing to sort of put forward. You know what I mean? And like, what choices do you make with respect to who you surround yourself with and the partners that you have in your life, friends, close people in your life? Are you inhibited around them? Are you hiding things? Are you vulnerable? Are you finding that to be sort of influencing the way you think and make decisions right now with respect to how much of yourself you want other people to be aware of and how much of yourself you're sharing? It's an interesting choice right now for you, Virgo, and it's all being driven by a sort of an imbalance. There's an imbalance within driving this. This is the root of you right now, is in imbalance, which is, and actually it's a perfect time because this moon really wants to get you in balance. So I think that could really be helpful. Regardless of the choices you have to make and this imbalance that you feel within, it seems like the sort of the most presenting obstacle that you have right now is this idea of spiritual blindness. Like, I feel like you've got blinders on when it comes to spirituality, and that sort of needs to be brought into focus here for you, because I really feel like the issue at hand has to do with spirituality. Like, if someone passes away, that tends to be something that we think about. We start to ask ourselves questions about where do we go after we pass away? What happens to us when we die? And I think those are sort of the questions you've been asking yourself, and you're coming up with this. It's like you're coming up with answers that are leaving you feeling even more lost and disillusioned, because you're like, nothing happens. I feel like I can hear you saying, well, when we die, and that's it. We're just gone. And I think that's because you've lost someone very significant to you, and it's sort of thrown your world to a place where, you're just not sure. You're not sure about anything, because your main inner dialogue for a long time has been represented by a lot of prosperity. You've had a lot of affluence and a lot of material rewards. And so I always think of this card as being in a comfort zone. So it's sort of like you've been in a comfort zone, and maybe the person in this picture appears to be, like they have it all, right? But they're also in this picture by themselves. And so it's sort of like, this can be a very lonely experience once you reach a certain level of like material success, which is why I feel like connection and breaking isolation is a recommendation here for you, because I feel like you're in a position, Virgo, where because of the sort of the heights you've reached, it's a lonely place at the top. It's a lonely place at the top, right, Virgo? And sometimes there could be sort of people that may want to take advantage of you or have deceitful intentions because you're so solid and set up, like you've been successful. And as a result, you've sort of been sometimes maybe taken advantage of, or there could have been times where you've had problems that you felt like you didn't have anyone to talk to about them, because when you're up on a pedestal, it's a lonely place up there. And I feel like it's not that you intentionally do that. I think it's just because of the heights you've reached. You've built up a situation for yourself where others may not be able to climb that high. You know what I mean? And as a result, you're finding that in a state of grief, it's very lonely where you are. And it's hard to build connections that you can trust. And I feel like trust is a big deal here for you, because I feel like maybe there's been some deception around you in the past, Virgo. And it's like, you're not sure who to open up to, because you have suffered betrayal before. You have been deceived before. And there are parts of you that need healing with respect to that, And I feel like in the upcoming future, you're going to point this sword at yourself, and you're really going to examine the way you perceive things in your mind, the way that you formulate a situation mentally. How do you frame it out? Do you see it with a degree of pessimism or optimism? Are you very flexible, or are you completely inflexible? I feel like these are questions in the future you're going to be asking yourself with respect to staying authentic. I feel like you're going to be coming into a period where that will be shining through. It's almost like externally, it's going to seem like a brand new emotional pathway that you're walking. I feel like the pathway you've been walking so far has been in sort of imbalance. It hasn't been aligned with movement forward. It's interesting, Virgo. I feel like you've got so many major arcanas here, that you've got the Chariot, the World, the Devil, and the Lovers. And I really feel like something is coming to a conclusion, or has concluded in the recent past. And it's just thrown everything in your world upside down a bit. And it's causing you to ask questions about mortality and life after death. And it's causing you to call into question relationships. There's so much going on here. Relationships with respect to who you trust, who is next to you. I feel like you have had some experiences where people have been deceptive, and I feel like you've also grieved the loss of someone. There's people in your life that I feel like you thought would always be there, Virgo, and suddenly a few of them are not. And for different reasons, I feel like there's been a few things going on here for you, but it really feels like you're being asked to surrender to the situation in a new way, and to sort of come down from that pedestal to see what's on the ground. Because I almost feel like you've kind of lost touch with that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you may have lost touch with the commonality of life, because you've sort of been living isolated in a tower. That's how I see you right now, Virgo. Now, at the end of your reading, I really do feel like you are going to break that isolation. I really think you're going to break through that confinement, and you're going to look for new ways to solve these obstacles and difficulties that have come along. I feel like that extreme loneliness and sense of isolation and alienation are going to end. You are going to tear down those defenses and sort of, like I said, rejoin people down here on ground level. I feel like you are going to be reconsidering your commitments, and that you are looking for a way to be authentic around people in a way that's vulnerable, with sort of tearing down some of your defenses a little bit here. It's interesting. Okay, let's see what guidance we get here for the end of your reading, to close your reading. Oh, feelings keeps flipping over, so we'll take it. Anything else here for Virgo? Anything else here for Virgo? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so this is all an emotional situation. This is all feelings. So this card, feelings, emotions want to be felt. You really can't surrender something until you deeply feel it. Allow me to offer all emotions, feeling them fully so they no longer hold me captive. Yeah, this whole reading is about you being captive somehow, right? Like this card in reverse really suggests that you break free. You're gonna find a way out of this place of captivity that you're in. And this idea of breaking isolation and seeking connections, and that this is concluding. This card almost looks like bars on, like those are trees, but it sort of almost looks like bars on a window. Again, that feeling of captivity. And this idea that you haven't been able to generate change. When we see that King of Rods in reverse, nothing will come of this situation as is. You need to break free. That is the key message here. Even though, you know, you've had your heart broken, you've suffered losses, people have left your life, maybe someone passed away, there's a decision that needs to be made here to break free. I want to break free. That's the song for you today, Virgo. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. If this has resonated for you and you would like a personal reading, my email's in the description below. And as always, thank you so much for liking, subscribing, and watching. And we'll see you again very soon for another reading. Sending you lots of love and light, my friends.